It's a great day when you're hanging around. Nothing's ever gonna bring me down. Good times are coming our way. Whenever, wherever, whatever today.
Today is going to be a great day. I am Nikki G, your host. Welcome to the Lone Doctrine, the food for thought exploration station, and your place in making today better than yesterday. We keep it short, simple, actionable, and practical because time is limited. Stress, 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 and more stress. That is the topic of the month. Sounds stressful? We are here to explore food for thought to make life less stressful. One of the most powerful ways in relieving stress is to become more educated and savvy on how we as individuals handle stress. Everyone, let me say that again, everyone handles stress differently. And here at the Lone Doctrine, we support you in writing your own Lone Doctrine, hence Lone, to create and live your best life. So, today, let's explore Handle Your Stress Better by Knowing What Causes It by Anne Grady. No matter how brave, hardworking, and intelligent you may be, there comes a time when stress becomes overwhelming and you get triggered. Triggers are those things that cause you to have a knee-jerk reaction that may or may not be in the best response to a given situation. When you are triggered, the emotional part of your brain takes over. You are flooded with adrenaline and cortisol, the same neurotransmitters and hormones that have evolutionarily protected us from threats like bear attacks. Our brain temporarily shuts down, and you lose the ability to solve problems, make decisions, and think rationally. When this happens, you have been emotionally hijacked, and it is difficult to see things as they really are. You go into protection mode, and until the perceived threat or trigger has dissipated, you will remain there. Over time, these reactions can lead to acute anxiety, depression, irritability, fatigue, and other health problems from heart disease to lower immune response. So here's some questions to think about. How does stress affect you physically? Do you get tightness in your chest? Do you start sweating? Are there knots in your stomach? Do you get headaches? How does stress affect you psychologically or emotionally? Do you start feeling out of control? How do you de-stress? Do you laugh? Do you meditate? Practice yoga? Reading? Identifying your triggers is a key component in improving your emotional intelligence and resilience. Emotional intelligence is the ability to understand your mood and emotions, to be aware of the moods and emotions of others, and to use this awareness to guide your behavior. Emotional intelligence determines how you interact with others, maintain relationships, stay motivated, make decisions, manage your emotions, influence others, and much more. It is so important. The stronger your emotions, the more likely they are to dictate your behavior. If you pay attention to the times when you experience stress, overwhelming emotions, and frustration, you'll begin to notice a pattern. There is usually someone or something that triggers a stress response. For example, take your typical workday, which is probably filled with meetings, deadlines, and other stressors. Imagine that a colleague embarrasses you in front of your manager and peers, sharing that you missed an important deadline. Your shoulders get tense, your palms get sweaty, and your stomach tightens. You have just been triggered, in this case by a feeling of embarrassment. If you're not careful, you can unknowingly think and behave in ways that impact your relationships and other experiences throughout the rest of the day. Some common sources of stress we are all familiar with include work, children, finances, relationships, illness, overcommitting, loneliness, family dynamics, lack of work-life balance, uncertainty. The good news is, once you are aware of your triggers, you can manage how you choose to react to them. The following questions are helpful in identifying your triggers. It makes me angry when, fill in the blank. I become overwhelmed when fill in the blank. I feel offended when I think it's rude too. At work, I wish people would. It makes me crazy when I get irritated when I come to work and... So the next time someone says or does something that activates your stress trigger, practice acknowledging and understanding your emotions. Assume positive intent and look for the most hopeful interpretation of their behavior. Think about the example of the colleague pointing out that you missed a deadline. What if you interpreted the situation a bit differently? What if you assumed that they were asked to give a status update and had no intention of embarrassing you? Yes, they could have approached it differently, but we're all human and we all make mistakes. When you focus your intentions on the most positive interpretation of a person or situation, you begin to see things differently. Not only does it reduce your stress levels, but you will also be surprised at how much more optimistic you feel. You will be on your way to being happier, more productive, and more resilient. To put this practice into action, start by identifying one situation that is challenging your emotional intelligence, and then ask yourself with this situation, how is it impacting me physically, emotionally, and psychologically? What triggers these feelings and emotions? What action can you take to manage the situation and your emotional response more effectively? Resilience is a set of skills that can be practiced and honed. While there is no shortage of stress in our lives, proactively managing your triggers will put you back in control. You will find that you are triggered less often and your responses are more manageable. By practicing these skills, you will not only reduce your level of stress, but also build emotional intelligence, grit, and resilience. There's a common theme in most personal development concepts, and that is practice. We all could listen and read all kinds of inspiring and encouraging words of betterment, but it won't do either of us, any good unless we put it into action. So this week, go back and answer those questions honestly. Learn more about yourself without judgment. Just being forgiving and honest will lead you on the right track, and then really hold up that mirror to see what triggers you, what causes your stress, and you'll be so far ahead of the game than most people in this life. We'd love to hear your thoughts. We'd love to hear your takeaways, and I love hearing from our listeners. Feel free, for free, to join us on all our social media platforms, whether it be the Facebook group, Instagram, Twitter, and join me in keeping the food for thought flowing. I hope to hear from you. I read all the emails and DMs personally. And remember to always keep fighting the good fight.
It's a great day.